Hello, listeners. You're listening to 18 Minutes with Satyal and Silwal. I am Satyal.
And I'm Silwal, and we're a weekly podcast from the Himalayas.
When it's a Tuesday and it's 7:30, you know it's time for perspectives, conversations, and stories.
Last week we weren't taking ourselves seriously at all, but in hindsight there were some serious issues. Satya was sad because he couldn't talk to a girl, so I scoured all over Kathmandu to find an expert in this area. I have a surprise for him today.
Wow.
He is a dating expert.
Wow, man.
Abhishek Maskey.
How is he an expert, man?
Let's ask him how many girls he's dated.
Are you serious about this question? Like, because there are audience listening to this. I've actually dated 7 girls so far, like proper relationships, and I've went out with, the romantic dates and stuff with 18 different girls.
Oh, man. Okay.
That's
Sure he's an expert then.
That's more than Satyal has ever talked to.
Sadly, yes. Okay, Maske, tell us a bit about yourself.
Firstly, I'm not humble. The second thing is I'm not a boca. I just like.
Neither are we.
I just like talking about dating, and I just can relate it with so many different things. That's why I'm here today.
All right, that's amazing. But on a serious note, Maske is associated with King's College. He's a brand and relationship officer there, good friend of ours. But forget all of that. More importantly for us, he's a dating guru.
A dating guru. I also have a small startup company called EBIMA. I'm working there as the interim CEO because I like the title so much, interim CEO.
We get to hang out with CEOs, man. That's the cool thing about doing the podcast. Anyways, getting back to the topic that I'm really interested in because this is supposed to help me. Sales and dating. How are those two related?
Well, the first thing that I want to, this is the disclaimer here. I never studied marketing ever in my life. I was the topper in finance in my class, and I was not a topper because I was so good at it. Because
you must be kidding, man. You seriously did not study marketing?
No. How did he become a topper? Is he, cheated with his girlfriends?
No, I didn't cheat or anything. The questions were stupid. There were questions like, what's the difference between a credit card and a debit card? And then I had people in my classroom who would be like, oh, Maske, batana yaar, ye debit card or credit card ka difference kya hai? And so the thing is, there were stupid questions asked which were really easy, and there were dumb people in my class. That's how I topped the class. And when I got back to Nepal, the first thing I looked for was a job in banking sector or anything to do with finance and numbers. And once I started working there, I thought it wasn't for me.
Okay.
So then I started thinking about what am I good at. And the thing that I realized was I've been dating since 2004, probably before a lot of the listeners were born.
I think our listeners are not that young. I hope not.
I hope not too, because there might be some explicit content here which might not suit them.
We would try to censor them.
Okay.
So anyways, it was 2004, you realized you're good with dating, then what happened?
No, it's 2013 is when he realized that it was finance that he was not interested in.
Okay.
2004 he started dating.
So yeah, in 2004 I started dating. It's 12 years now. And I've been marketing and selling for the last 3. And the only reason I could do it was because I could relate both of them.
Okay.
So one of the thing is when you're selling something, you have a product that you have to sell. The one thing that you have to understand is you have to know everything about the product before you sell it.
True.
While you're dating, you're the salesman and you're the product, and who's gonna know you better than yourself? So that was the relation I got, and that's how this whole process of explaining sales through dating started.
Okay.
All right, so you talked about knowing yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the length of it? What? Do you know the length of it? Do you know the length of it? Do you know the length of it?
What does that even mean, right? What's up, Silwal? What does that even mean?
People already know about it, so let's move on. You're talking about knowing about yourself, right? You're selling a product.
We have very young listeners here. We have very young listeners here. Let's not get into that. Anyways, moving on to the serious topic of this podcast. So, because you said there's a relationship between dating and sales, right? So what's the first step that you should be looking into if you want to incorporate those
Well,
two?
before you even go to the steps, the first thing that you have to remember is you have to be very honest. You have to be honest to the girl you're trying to approach and to the person you're trying to sell. You cannot lie.
How does that work, man? Because like
Nepali saying छ नि बोल्ने मान्छेको पिठो पनि बिग्छ. That whole thing. अनि अर्को thing that I always used to hear was खतरा बोल्ने मान्छेले के भन्छ तालु मान्छेलाई काङ्गे पनि बेच्दिन्छ. So हुन्छ नि त्यो like हुन्छ, and I've heard so much of stories behind those things, like especially when I started doing marketing. मैले एउटा कुरा के बुझेँ भन्दा चाहिँ नि, you can sell a comb to a bald guy, convincing him that if you comb that every day, and so
you get your hair back.
Yeah, you get your hair back, but that you're just gonna sell once.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be doing that, right? By lying to other people. Same with dating. के मैले त्यो क्या चङ्केरी डेट गरेको थिएँ पहिला, मेरो पहिलाको एक्स गर्लफ्रेन्ड मोडल हो, त्यो केटी छ नि त्यो मेरो एक्स हो, त्यो केटीले मलाई यस्तो के भन्छ पहिला यस्तो मेरो पछि लाग्यो थियो. Those things don't really work on a longer run. So the first thing that we'll have to remember, like let's call this the ground rule: you're not supposed to lie.
Okay. But how does that work, man? If I'm broke, if I tell the girl I'm broke, will she still go out with me?
एउटा फेसबुकमा फोटो छ कि मलाई एकदम मनपर्छ. You're broke as...
Which I am most of the times.
I'm saying I'm so broke, but she believes in my dreams. So she will be with you.
No wonder he's the dating guru.
Give it up for him, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so what happens after that? The first thing is to be honest.
The ground rules.
Which we hope a lot of our listeners are. Silwal is not.
What?
At times I'm not too, but still, you know.
Practice what you preach. Okay.
So the first step you'll have to remember is you have to make the first move.
Okay.
So do you know what making the first move is?
Say hi.
Say hi or something like that. पहिलाको जमानामा मेरा पालामा हैन, हाम्रा पालामा
हैन तिम्रो मात्र.
Okay, मेरो पालामा चाहिँ नि we did not have cell phones त्यति बेला हैन. अनि हाम्रो ल्यान्डलाइनमा फोन गर्नु पर्थ्यो, अनि 1 घन्टी बजायो हैन, त्यसपछि गएर
त्यो एउटा मिस कल दिने.
त्यो मिस कल भनेको मेरो बोयफ्रेन्ड इज अबाउट टु कल मी.
So my parents should not be around the phone.
So
we do that. हाम्रै पालाकै रहेछ.
Exactly. तर पहिला त्यस्तो गर्नु पर्थ्यो. We had to do so much, like get the phone number and do some like अति रिसर्च गर्नु पर्थ्यो. अहिले कस्तो सजिलो छ न, you just type her name on Facebook and you can just add her again. Right?
Beauty of it.
अनि add गरेर if she accepts you, you're through the first step. So that was making the first move. You're adding someone. Okay. Now you'll have to start the conversation. That's a different story, but that's what you do. Salesमा पनि त्यही हुन्छ के. Everyone has been to विशाल बजार हैन. विशाल बजारमा त्यो यस्तो जुत्ता एउटा हेरेको हुन्छ, भित्रबाट पुरा ग्याङ आउँछ नि त. सर तपाईलाई जुत्तामा भित्र अझै टन्न डिजाइन्सहरु छ, सर आउनुस् भन्दै पुरा एकदम गुन्डा खालको मान्छेहरु आएर भन्नु आउँछ नि. So that's also making the first move. Unless you do that, unless you're a little bit pushy here, they won't come, the customers won't be around you. Alikati saying you'll have to put an effort to make the first move.
Okay.
So, these days, making the first move is easy.
Very.
You just
click on a button.
And the best way is once she accepts your friend request, just like a few of her pictures, comment on. Yeah.
Just to be on the top of mind.
Yeah. So नाम देखिरहेको छ. It's like branding के. हामीले अब त्यो कोकोकोला जहाँ पनि देखिरहेको हुन्छ याद हुन्छ नि त, चिसो भनेकै कोकोकोला जस्तै हुन्छ नि. And when you keep liking things around her friends को पोस्टहरु, उसको पोस्टहरुमा फेरि but don't be a stalker. हुन्छ 2 वर्ष 3 वर्ष अगाडिको फोटो लाइक गर्दा फेरि बर्बाद हुन्छ. So this is any गर्नु भएन हैन, but all टाकटुक लाइक साइक हान्दै भने she will remember you after that, and then having that first conversation is going to be very easy.
So how do you start, man?
For me, I always start with a hi. You never know, right?
Yeah, she might say no, but she might end up to become the mother of your child. Is that how it is?
Don't take it too seriously, man.
Don't take it
too seriously. There's this quote like this, man. This is not something that I made up. All right. Anyways, hi.
यसमा चाहिँ छ अति रमाइलो trick एउटा that I learned about हुन्छ नि, when you are making the first conversation, is to remember the brand Ford.
Okay.
So F stands for, not the F word stands for something else here. It's for family or friends. Kathmandu is such a small place. You just check the common friends and, oh, you know this person. How do you know this person? I love this person. I have a golf course start going up.
With the hope that it does not backfire, that they don't bitch about each other.
Yeah, so how do you know them? Start going. And again, when you're selling or dating, it doesn't matter if you're a good talker or not. You'll have to be a very good listener. So every little hint that they give is very important for you.
Listeners, we hope you're listening and you've not already closed the tab, because it's important to be a good listener.
Today, everyone's opening up. They have notes ready and learning to do this.
For a change. Thanks, Maskey. So that was F, right?
Yeah.
What's O?
O is for your occupation. So if you're a graphic designer and you come across someone who loves art, then you have a connection right there and then. Or maybe you're a student and you're a business student. Oh my God, you're a business student. I'm a business student.
This guy
too.
is an expert, man. I'm starting to believe him now.
Satya, for us, we're starting a podcast, right? You can just go to a girl and be like, I want to record you. I want to listen to you.
For 18 minutes every day.
Okay, so O is occupation.
R is for recreational things that you like doing.
Okay.
So recreational things as in you might just like going on hikes. Do you like hikes? I like, oh, let's go on a
Let's
hike.
go on a hike, okay.
So, oh, do you like football? Oh, let's go watch Euro Cup tonight. मेरो घरको साइडको एउटा पबमा यस्तो बबाल स्क्रिन राखेर चाहिँ you can actually start conversations with just that FOR. And D is about the dreams you have.
I thought D was something else.
I also thought D was something else and F was something else, but it's completely different. So D is about the dreams that you have, like, just don't go directly to the dreams. Like, first get to know our friends and family, and then talk a little bit about occupation. Maybe then you can talk about, oh, I always dreamt of being a designer or something like that. I don't know, I'm just saying designer.
I have a very legitimate question here. How do you choose the place when you're going out with a girl for the first time? Because most of the times she will give you that pressure to choose a place. How do you do that? I know looking at the price of the menu is one, but how do you do it?
Well, not just looking at the price of the menu, first have to look into your wallet, right?
Yeah.
So
That's kind of what I meant. Yeah.
And then if you really want, I use this as a filter because I don't like girls who अलिकति भाउ खोज्ने अनि त्यो हुन्छ नि एकदम त्यो snobbish खालको हुन्छ नि अलि annoying त्यस्तो खालको मन लाग्दैन कि. So what I do is I take them to a very dingy looking place, or like हुन्छ नि I'll be very specific. I'll take them to Snowman Cafe बसन्तपुर के. And if they're like, "You कस्तो खालको ठाउँ हो यो?" I'm like, "She is, oh, you're not my
You're not
kind."
going that next step. Okay.
So I do that, like take her to a place where I often hang out. If she likes that ambience, and she might just connect right with me, because like first time meeting and you're not thinking about getting married right away, right? So that's
Satyal is thinking about having children and babies already.
No? Okay, wait now. So that's how you choose a place, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and then what happens?
Relating it back to SIDS, right?
Mhm.
We've set up the ground rules. We know the Ford model. What next after that? So
Now the next thing is you'll have to be communicating properly. So while you're selling something, your job is to make the first phone. I mean, not just the first phone call, but you'll have to keep following up with them. You would have to call them and ask them if they like the samples, and you'll have to do all the feedback, and you'll have to initiate that conversation and keep the conversation going, right? Dating ma चाहिँ नि एकदम सजिलो छ क्या आजकल. You just have to send a good morning and a good night text. Good morning text as soon as you wake up. Good night text right before you go to sleep.
let me put it in a different perspective, because you're telling this and everyone's going to do it, right?
Mhm.
So good morning, good night is all in So what would be a different way to stand out? Is there something that you could stand out? Because there's going to be guys and probably girls following that person that you're trying to talk with.
10,000 people are listening to us right now, so whatever rule that he gives is everyone's following that again. So that's again becoming a norm now. But anyway.
But I think my point is, I think shouldn't we try to stand out more rather than just
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I used to do.
used to? He has a new thing, but he's not
He's
going
not
to
gonna
share
tell
that.
that. Because 10,000 people are listening to us right now.
Because 10,000 people. I don't want them to be copying me or something like that, because it's going to be boring that way.
No, it's just 110 anyways.
Anyways, I used to send a good morning text, like good morning sleeping beauty. And that worked a lot.
All right, Satya.
That makes
note it
sense.
No,
down.
I'm not gonna note it down because the fact that he's changed it means that it probably does not work
It's stale.
anymore.
It's stale now.
Anyways, okay. So
Communication.
Communication.
Constant communication.
Constant communication is the key, but again, you cannot be pushy. Yeah. If she doesn't reply to you, wait. It's not like hi, hey, why aren't you replying to me? Hey, reply me. Hey,
Deliver,
why are you
check
showing me
it.
why are you showing me your attitude? Huh? Don't do that to me. Why do what only thing to keep you at it? Don't do that. Just
Let them
wait.
breathe.
Let them breathe.
okay, another question to you. Because हाम्रो पालामा भनेर कुरा भइरहेछ नि त प्लस माइनस वाट्स एन एलिजिबल डेटेबल एज फर यु प्लस माइनस कति यस्तो सोच्ने दिन आइसक्यो
कहाँ त्यस्तो हुन्छ म अब
I don't want you near younger
I'm
women.
just 16.
I started dating when I was 14 years old.
But now you cannot go back to 14-year-olds. There has to be some age limit.
So
Silwal says she has to be 20.
Yeah,
right?
she has, at least 20. Upper limit does not really matter.
Okay, you can date a 45-year-old, which means yeah. So what about you?
Like त्यस्तो अब मलाई त एकदम कन्फ्युजिङ लाग्छ यो क्वेसन है अब कतिवटा पोइन्टमा चाहिँ नि I've always been talking to my parents about this and they're like when I was like 14 years old they used to be like अहिलेदेखि गर्लफ्रेन्ड तेरो बिहा गर्नको लागि त 6-7 वर्षको डिफरेन्स भएको बच्चा I mean like अब त्यति बेला बच्चाहरूले बिकज म ग्रेड 8 मा थिएँ त्यति बेला and the girl I was supposed to date was about grade 2 तिर के सो त्यो हुँदाखेरि त कस्तो weird हुन्छ नि म क्लास 2 भन्दा त जन्मेको पनि थिएन हुन्छ सो सुरुमा when I was like around 18 I thought 2 वर्षको age difference would be perfect but right now that I'm growing older and like seriously thinking about marriage and stuff I think like 6 to 7 years good difference is not bad
plus minus
plus plus the 2
क्या बात हो गया माइनस से 700 जाने रे
alright so connecting back with sales what next after communication
पछि it's very interesting it's about what you say versus how you say things about what you say भनेको कुरा I'm saying when you're selling something it's you talk about the features and all the boring things that people really don't care about but when you sell them a dream behind every product you're trying to sell you tend to sell more dating ma pani त्यही हो कि instead of just showing off what you have your new iPhone 6s Plus instead of showing that off I think it's more important to make them feel special and when you make them feel special the chances of them dating you is higher than just you showing them what you have.
I'm interested in the last step
है
त्यसपछि के हुन्छ रे
त्यसपछिको स्टेप त सबसे बवाल स्टेप हुन्छ
That's what I'm interested in.
It's called 90-10 rule okay when you're trying to sell 90% of your job is to give all the details that you want to give and try to persuade them to buy but that 10% gap we always leave that for them to make the decision same with dating के त्यो अघि पुरा घुम्नसम्म गयो अघि सामानमा चिया खाने के कुरा गरेको थियो so after that once you drop her back home you're outside her घरको ढोका अनि त्यसपछि गएर it was a really nice day and hug गर्छ अनि त्यसपछि गएर you really want to kiss her right so what you do is you go 90% close to her don't be a perv and just kiss her right away हैन
I feel like I'm watching Hitch right now
अनि त्यो मैले हिचबाटै सिकेको कुरा so 90% क्लोज जाने अनि you hold there के अनि let her make the 10% move from her side if she does not and she goes back you fail the whole process you have to go back to the process again हैन
but that happens a lot with Silwal
he gives his own ideas
but if she comes at like 10% closer to you that makes you 100% successful and then your journey begins
all right amazing advice I'm sure Silwal's going to apply it as soon as we turn this off
I brought him here to help you out so
I hope both of you have a lot to learn from this
anyways
all right so thank you Maskey for being with us teaching us about dating as well as sales
thank you Satyal and Silwal
and you just did that opposite anyways
but they cannot see like I dressed today for this interview
anyways listeners Maskey actually took a shower to come here but then he realized it's a podcast anyways we talked about the getaway idea with you in the last episode we hope you've given a thought to it
planning to do that soon so if you're interested just give us any suggestions and ideas before that thanks again to Animesh for his technical inputs we'll be back again next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. until then keep dating try to reach that 90%
yes it's never too late to date